What's up, everybody? We're on Roots Week 7. Second day here. Our readings come from Genesis chapter 25, verse 19, all the way through chapter 26, verse 6, and then we pick it back up in chapter 28, reading from verses 10 through 22. Right now, we're sort of talking about the very beginnings of the people of Israel, how they got started out, basically going from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. Eventually, we'll get into the story of Joseph and all the things there. A lot of really good stories there for us to read and think about. Today, in this video, I just want to focus in on a short passage at the end of chapter 25 in Genesis. Verse 27 through 34 says this. It says, when the boys grew up, and it's talking about these twin brothers, Isaac's children, Jacob and Esau. It says, Esau became an expert hunter, an outdoorsman, but Jacob was a quiet man who stayed at home. Isaac loved Esau because he had a taste for wild game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once when Jacob was cooking stew, Esau came in from the field exhausted. He said to Jacob, let me eat some of that red stuff because I'm exhausted. That's why he was also named Edom. Just so y'all know, stew, it was red. Give me some of that red stuff. The word Edom in Hebrew actually means red. So that's kind of where Esau gets this alternate name. It says in verse 31, Jacob replied, first sell me your birthright. Look, said Esau, I'm about to die, so what good is a birthright to me? Jacob said, swear to me first. So he swore to Jacob and sold his birthright to him. Then Jacob gave bread and lentil stew to Esau. He ate, drank, got up, and went away. So Esau despised his birthright. Now, the idea of a birthright might be kind of weird to us, but basically what that meant is that the older child had certain privileges and the family usually got a bigger inheritance, as well as some other, privileges over the property and all that sort of stuff. That was just sort of the tradition. And even though they're twins, Esau was born first. And so he enjoys certain privileges in the family. Now, God's blessing is towards this family, is towards the descendants of Abraham. Basically, the meaning of this story is that Esau really doesn't think much of the blessings that he gets to enjoy in this family. He comes in, he's been hunting, and he's exhausted and he's worn out. And he says, well, if I don't eat any stew, I'm going to die, which I think we should probably read as he's being a little bit dramatic. And he winds up selling all of his rights as the firstborn son for a bowl of soup, which is an incredibly low price for the things that you enjoy, in the inheritance and that sort of thing. And all this is sort of setting up the idea that God's going to continue his plan, going to continue blessing through Jacob and not through Esau, because Esau repeatedly shows that he really doesn't care much for, not for the family that he's in, but for their special status before God. He doesn't think much ahead. He doesn't really care much for all that sort of stuff. He sort of just lives in the moment and doesn't think ahead in that sort of way. And so because of that, he loses it. Now, there's a great lesson in there for us. We are Abraham's children now through Jesus Christ. If we believe in Jesus, we become part of Abraham's children. And so we're part of that call to bless the whole earth. We've been blessed by God. God looks after us and all those sorts of things. But in the same way, we can despise our birthright, despise the rights that we have as children of God. And the way that we do that is we trade those things off for immediate gratification. We trade off, the status that we enjoy as being a child of God to do what is wrong, to sin perhaps, and to do something that feels good in the moment, but really betrays the God who loved us. And in the same way, we despise our birthrights as well. And so we want to be careful that we keep in mind who we are. We are God's children. We have rights with Him, and we shouldn't just sell out at any opportunity that we get to get immediate gratification in the right now. A lot of times, loving God and following God means delayed gratification. That means sacrificing the right now for the hope that you have in the future through God.